What's going on, Saberland? This is Rob with the Rock Sabers with the video breakdown of how to assemble and use the removable chassis for the Saberforge Bane MK2. Just got back from vacation. Been away for about a little over 2 weeks, and it's nice to be back. But you know, being on vacation is nicer. Not gonna lie. All right, so I'm gonna take this apart so you can see how it all goes together, and I'm gonna put it back together. So the video might be a little longer than usual, and I'll try to keep it short and sweet. So let's get started. So things that I will supply with the chassis. The chassis itself is going to be $40 shipped, and the chassis will come with the main part, and then the support chassis for the switches and the PCBs on both ends for the Pixel Blade and Albert's Smuggler's Outpost PCB setup. And the switches are $30 each. These are manually made on the lathe, and there is a process to it, so that's why they're a little more expensive than others you see out there. These take a little more time. They're handmade. Quality control is top notch. You can see them. They speak for themselves. They're beautiful. Okay. The other thing I will supply is with the chassis. If you buy the full set, if you buy the switches, the chassis, it will come with the retention screws with it. So that's about $100, and let's get into it. All right. So first thing first is let's remove the pommel. So, the other thing about the pommel as well, the speaker hits up against this little grill right here. So I will also supply a spacer. I don't use one on mine because mine is snug when you put it on, so it doesn't really wiggle or move when you go to put it on. Let me turn this on.
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy. You have become a rival. There is no mercy.
So you can see it's nice and loud. Can't beat that 28mm speaker. All right, so let's take this off. Like I said, it's a little snug. And then, this is the screw I will supply. This will be your retention screw for the chassis. Once you undo that, the chassis will kind of pop out a little bit, and then it slides out.
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy.
And you got to make sure the chassis, the screw comes out enough to clear for the other end of the chassis to slide out. There we go. And here it is. Here is the chassis fully assembled, ready to go. This is sporting a CFX. I will get into the details regarding the different soundboards in a moment, but just want to demonstrate how you remove it and how you insert it. So now that I removed it, I'm going to go ahead and put it in. And you have to be very careful because of how this chassis is laid out. If you twist it, if you insert it wrong, you could cause a short on the board. Luckily, the CFX has the polarity safety integrated, so I don't have to worry about that. But you do want to keep in mind that when you remove this or you insert it, especially when you insert it and you make contact with the pins, you have this properly aligned. So what I use to align it is this line right here. This is my center line. So when I go to insert it, I make sure everything is nice and aligned. So when I get to this part right here, I make sure that the dot aligns with the spine right here, and then there you go. Now it's making contact. You can feel the pins pushing back on you. You're set to go. So what I do is with my two fingers, I don't press on the speaker, I press on the side of the speakers, and I press in to feel that push, hold it, and then I tighten my retention screw, and I'm good to go. Another thing is when you go to insert it, it's gonna be a little like, you're gonna feel a little, how do I say, maybe where it doesn't just slide in perfectly, you're gonna feel a little like, oh, I need to push it in. That's gonna be in this area right here. You can see it. What you wanna do is just kind of lift it up a little bit, just a little bit, and it'll slide right in. That's how you do that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this out, and I'm gonna actually take the Bane apart so you can see how the rest of it assembles. So we have the retention screw right here that I will supply with the chassis. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take this one off, or loosen it a little bit. Actually, I don't have to take that off, so we'll just leave that on there. My switches are actually glued in. So when I go to take this completely apart, they're just gonna be a little crusty, maybe from the glue that I use. And then you're gonna have a retention screw on this side as well. So I will be supplying 2 retention screws with the chassis. I believe that's the other one. Let me see how long this one is. They're both the same length. So yeah, you will be getting 1 retention screw from me for that. And go ahead and slide this out. So there is the shroud. Now I need to remove this little guy right here. And I don't know if I have the right size. Nope, that's not it. Please tell me I have the right size in here somewhere. I'm trying to keep this video short and trying to find the right size. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. I think that's it. There we go. Okay, so remove your claw. And now we get to the switch part. So this is the blade holder part. Take that off, and then there is the other side of the PCB. So we're gonna go ahead and, yeah, I might as well take this one off too. Okay, there's that piece, and then this will break off, and you can see the switches are glued in. They're not going anywhere. Pretty cool. All right, anyways, and here is the other part of the chassis that you will need to wire up that will come with the set. So these are the 2 pieces you get with the chassis. You get the supporting chassis for the switches and pixel PCBs for both ends, and the main chassis that will hold the board, battery, and 28mm speaker. And that's it. Simple as that. Now, the way I recommend you do this install is once you have everything wired up and you're ready to go, you put the battery in. You get the response, it works. All right, you're ready to go. I would do a test fit first before you go ahead and seal the deal. And what I mean by that is, first, what I recommend you do is once you have your hilt assembled. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this guy back together from bottom up. So we're gonna do this end first. I'll put the retention screws. Where's the other one at? Oh, it's on there still. Okay. Sorry, I'm out of camera here on some of this. Trying to keep it in frame. Okay, put that one on. Not too tight, just enough to hold it together. And then we're gonna put the shroud on. Okay, now I forgot to show you guys that the chassis does bump up at a certain point in the hilt. There is an lower ID and higher ID inside of this area, and this is designed to bump up against that. So when you have it fully inserted, as I'm doing right now, you will feel it bump. You will feel it and hear it. It's not going to move any further than that, okay? That is your, that's where you want to stop it and lock it, okay? So what I'm going to do now is, now that I got to this point, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to secure the chassis. Now you can do this either way. You can lock this one in place first, or you can lock this one in place first. I recommend locking this one in place first because you know that it's all the way up against the stop, and you're not going to shortchange yourself. So once you do that, go ahead and you can secure it with the retention screw. It's not going anywhere. It's nice and tight. Might as well go ahead and lock this side in. All right, there we go. So this is secured, it's aligned, it's ready to go. So now the next thing you want to do is you want to put this guy in. Where'd he go? You want to put this guy in right here. Albert side PCB, not the blade side, the switch PCB side down here. And this is going to be a little harder for me because my switches are glued in and I can't see where this aligns. But when you do yours, do this first before you glue your switches in. So like that, you can make sure you're all the way in and aligned and everything's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. And I'm going to test the buttons so they're not making good contact. So that's not right. Might as well do it this way. This will probably be easier like this. Where are my buttons? Where are my buttons? There we go. Okay, the buttons are making contact. Now, as I mentioned, it's easier to do it without the buttons on, so I'm going to go ahead and pop these off because I need to see what I'm doing. It's a little tricky that way. Pop. Okay, that guy's stuck in there pretty good. Let me see if I can get something to pop him out. Okay, he's out. All right, now I can do this. This will be a lot easier to do it this way. Okay, so now I know that it's making contact right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the emitter part on, and you can see the switches are right there. It's not fully in because you can the pins push back on it. You can see it. They push them back out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure this part first, or not secure it, but I'm going to put the retention screws on. Actually, you want to do that with the shroud. Yeah, you got to do that with the shroud. I try to keep this video short and sweet, but there's just such a process to do this, and you want to do it right. So it's going to take a little longer than expected, which is okay. Take your time when you do this. Don't rush anything because you don't want to screw this up. So we put these screws back on. Because when you rush stuff, that's when things get messed up. All right, there we go. We're good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up a little bit more. Make sure I can still move this. Yep, I can still move it. Okay, a little more. Now, having an extra set of hands will make this process a little easier when you go to tighten this part, because you got to have your shroud on and you got to have the switches exposed. And you got to use both hands to do that to make sure everything's aligned. So it's always nice to have an extra set of hands to help you when you're pushing this in. You're going to see me push it in. It's always nice to have somebody there. Okay, I'm doing this. You go ahead and tighten it right there. But I'm going to do this solo, so hopefully I don't screw it up. So I'm using the pommel area as support while I push down with the other hand on the screws. So go ahead and tighten these up. That should have got it. Yep. Okay, so that's secured now. That's exactly where it needs to be. And then I can go ahead and secure the other screw, and that will be set for that. So what I'm going to do is, I was only going to supply one of the retention screws, but I'm going to end up supplying both sides just to keep it even, nice and aligned. And we should be good to go. Let me see if my switches will fit in here now. There's a little gunk on them. See how that works. Yeah, I might have to clean them up a little bit before I put them back in because they got crap all over them now. Yeah, that's going to be a process. So I'm going to have to clean those up. So definitely do this before you secure your switches in there. It'll make it a lot easier and cleaner. You don't want a messy install. All right, now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and remove this part and put the battery in, and we should be good to go. All right, that pops right out. Don't forget, you got to take this out more to allow for the clearance on the other end to come out. And there it is. All right, put the battery in, and
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy.
the moment of truth. Here we go. It's making contact. Now I need to secure it. Chassis secured, and we're going to press the button. There it is.
Become a rival. There is no mercy.
Now that that's done, you can put the rest of it back together. You can put the claw on, you can put your pommel on, and you're all set to go. The only thing that I'm not showing is the spacer I'm going to supply to allow for the clearance of the speaker so it doesn't hit against the grill. But that's just a little ring. You just slide it over here and you're good to go. But yeah, that's it. That's the assembly process. And then once that's done, you just glue these suckers back into place and you're all set to go. So if you have any questions, let me know. Please take your time when you do this install. Be careful of your how you align your chassis when you insert it. I will not be responsible if you misalign it and it shorts your board. So I definitely recommend that you do that properly. Don't rush this install. This install is not complicated, but it does require it to be done correctly. You don't want to mess anything up because of how short spaced everything is. It's a little cram foo, but it could be nice and clean, just how you see mine is. It's not difficult, but it does take some time. So the other thing I forgot to mention, along with the chassis, I will also be supplying these two switches to go along with it. So that will make your install easier. You don't have to go look for switches that will fit there. You will have them already ready to go. And then also when you buy my switch plunger, secured switch plunger set, you'd be pretty much set to go and just do your install and enjoy your removable battery Saberforge Bane mk2. First of its kind, people. First of its kind. Fully removable curved chassis. Great accomplishment. I'm very proud of this. It took some work to do, but I was able to figure out and engineer, design, and get it to work as it does now, as shown. Anyways, thanks for watching. Sorry for the long video. I did try to keep this short, but I will not put this on my Etsy store yet, just because I'm still catching up on stuff and I want to get fully caught up. So if you want to purchase this, the full set for the switches, the chassis, retention screws, and switch plungers and battery contact with the chassis, it's going to be $100. All right. So I will note that when I do the sale post, and you guys can hit me up. All right, guys. May the force be with you.